Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to another installment of the Recruitment Hackers webinar. My name is Nikki and I'm going to be your host and moderator for this event. Can you just go to the chat section and let us know where you're joining us from and your name, what company you work with and where you're joining us from. We're very excited that you could make it today to this exciting webinar. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Nikki. I just promoted the real Justin 08 as a panelist.
Hi, Justin.
Should be there, should be hearing us.
Yes. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Max.
We're so happy to have you with us, and I'll be introducing you in a few minutes. But before then, I want to say welcome to everyone that is joining us today. Wherever you're joining us from, it's very, very great to have you join us today. Today's webinar, we're going to be discussing overcoming talent shortage challenges in the BPO industry. So if you're in the volume hiring space, especially in the BPO industry, this webinar is for you. And we have a very, very special guest with us today, and I'll be introducing him in a few minutes. But in the meantime, can you just go to the chat section and tell us your name and where you're joining us from? And we're very happy to have you here with us. So before we begin, I'd like to run you through a couple of things that we have happening very soon with the Recruitment Hackers, So we have an upcoming event happening this December. It's the Global BPO Awards, and we're going to be celebrating exceptional achievements in the recruitment space, in the BPO space. And so if you have favorite teams, if you have anyone that you think that should be nominated for any awards in any of the categories that we have this year, on Monday we'll have the nomination links open and you can go to our website and nominate your favorite teams and professionals. So again, you can go to the chat section and tell us where you're joining us from today, and we'd like to get to know you. So again, the Global BPO Awards, where we celebrate outstanding talent and acquisition teams and professionals in the business process outsourcing industry. It's happening in December, and nominations open from next week. So you can nominate and you can vote for your favorite teams in the BPO space. Without further ado, I think we'll just give people about 2 more minutes and they can join us. And then we'll introduce our very special guest speaker for today's event. Thanks again. Please go to the chat session and tell us where you're joining us from. Give us your name, where you work, and what country you're in. We're very excited to get to know you. And as you know, if this is your first time joining us, the Recruitment Hackers community is a community where we discuss current trends and challenges in the recruiting space. So we want to help our members learn what is happening, what's currently happening in the recruitment space, and help them overcome these challenges. And then today's webinar is no exception. We will be tackling the current challenges that we have with talent shortage. Like, we want to help companies in the BPO space overcome these challenges and, power up their sourcing games at that sourcing game. That's why we have this very special guest speaker with us here today. And during the course of the webinar, if you have any questions for us, please go to the Q&A section and enter your question, and we will try to answer them during the course of the webinar or after our session with our guest speaker. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our very special guest speaker today. He is the Senior Manager, Talent Acquisition for Concentrate Philippines, and his name is Justin Resurrection. Hi, Justin, if you could just turn on your camera so the people can get to see you.
Hi, Nikki. I think you have to allow the camera.
Sorry. Louis, if you're there, could you enable this camera so Justin could show his face?
Yes, on it.
Okay.
Done.
Okay. Justin, are you still there?
Yep.
Okay. So you can share your camera now.
Yep. Try it. Can you
Hi,
see me?
Justin. Yes, can see you. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited to have you. I think you're on mute currently. So
Yep.
yes. Okay, so you have about 8 years of experience in the recruitment space, if I'm correct?
Yes.
Yes. Around what capacities, please, if you can just elaborate on that.
Yeah, for Concentrix, I've been with the company for over 6 years, but I've been recruiting for almost a decade now, Nikki. So I've been with 3 companies for my entire recruiting team. But for Concentrix alone, I'm handling talent sourcing. So I'm a cluster head, so I'm handling sites and then overall digital for Concentrix.
That's awesome. That's really interesting. And then since you have such a hands-on experience with sourcing, I'm guessing that the topic that we're about to discuss is not really surprising to you, talent shortage in the industry, like getting the right candidates in. It's not just even getting people to apply, like targeting the right candidates. It's not just a perception, it's not a myth. We've had reports that say that 78% of organizations are currently undergoing talent shortage, probably due to different trends that we've seen in the industry, ranging from the Great Resignation, coming out of the pandemic, and all of that. So I'd like to get your opinion about that. It's not just a myth, it's something that's currently happening, right?
Yes. Well, actually, talent shortage has been happening even pre-pandemic. So, I'd say we're not yet coming out from pandemic. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. But talking about, let's say, the new business model, the new normal, it was really challenging now to recruit for new talent. So our workforce has undergone a number of dramatic short-term and long-term shifts. Let's say ranging from the sudden change to move to remote, let's say, arrangement, to larger questions surrounding like work-life balance and the overall relationship between employers and talent. So it has been a great shift post-pandemic. So I mean, still in the pandemic. But to give you like a glimpse of what are the impact of COVID for talent management. So there's obviously bad impact, but there's some good impact as well. So to give you an example, technology. So through technology and remote work, so the talent could be anywhere from the globe already.
Yeah.
So before you have to bring the talent to work, now you can bring the work to talent. So that's how it is right now. So if you want talent that is in a different country or location, you can through technology. So that's one of the great impact of COVID. However, in my own observation, employees have more control over their work now. So how they work and where they work, if let's say if you are a high potential employee or high performer, you are controlling the conversation now. So you're dictating the terms. And in a good side, employers are listening.
Yeah, I can understand that. But in situations where, like you said, you have employees that are in charge of the work now because, they have the skills and they know that they are in demand, how can employers make these roles really very attractive to get the right target audience that you want? Like when you're running your ads, when you're trying to source for candidates, how can you make your roles really attractive? And how can you make everything attractive so that this talent that you want, not just anybody, you don't want someone who just wants to apply because, he sees a vacancy and then he says, oh, let me apply, and he applies. You want someone that it's capable of doing the job, someone that has the talent, the skills that you're looking for. So how can employers, make the roles very attractive, not to target those people?
Okay. Well, to answer that, the behavior of applicants now is very different from the pre-pandemic state. So they are more self-aware. They know what they want. They are very specific with the work arrangement and conditions. So now that many companies are still offering work from home opportunities, really gets harder for us to pull candidates and let's say hire candidates for an on-site position, right? So because in reality, me given that option of flexibility, I will opted to let's say apply for a remote role. But in contrast, not everyone is built to work alone. Somehow we need to be surrounded by people because in reality, as human beings, we are highly sociable. So
Yes.
that's where we are banking right now, to make sure that we have the right benefits, additional incentives to attract people to work on site and for those hard to fill positions. So let's say as an example, for positions to be working on site, a company can somehow offer shuttle services, accommodations, just to make sure that we are supporting those people who wanted to work on site.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So for those that want to work from home, but you've seen that you want these people to come to the office, you don't want them to work from home. So besides, what else can people do to get these people to want to come into the office? Because there's some roles that you cannot work from home. You have to work in the office. So what do you think companies can do to get those people to want to come into the office?
There are a lot of things that we need to consider when pulling for candidates to work on site. First is how we advertise the job. So you have to start with that. So we have lots of, let's say, sourcing channels, but we just have to be strategic where we post them to attract the right pool of candidates. So let's say for LinkedIn, we use that for non-agent roles. For Facebook, we use that for agent positions. So that's thinking about what advertising sources you should be using to attract those, let's say, candidates. So right now we are conducting some research to find out where our targeted group of candidates tend to look for new jobs. So we have to try new sourcing channels once in a while as well. So when to answer as well, when shortages becomes a serious concern, it might be time to reevaluate how you recruit new employees. So let's say new members, they don't have to be perfect from the get-go, right? Without hurting your company, you could easily hire applicants with let's say, 80% of the right requirements and help them grow into the role. Or you could try hiring applicants with all the right skills, but ones perhaps with less experience than you were initially looking for. So if you diversify your hiring practice and consider, let's say, the transferable skills, as mentioned before, you could find excellent and motivated individuals for your company.
That's really interesting. Okay, so I'm curious to know, you mentioned Facebook, you mentioned LinkedIn. So that means that you're open to using social media for sourcing.
Yes.
Well, we've had a lot of situations where a lot of companies say they don't want to recruit via social media because they get tons of applications and they don't see candidates that they like. And also the stress of, combing through these applications that come in, a lot of people don't want that. But at Concentrics, and you guys seem to be doing it quite well. You source on social media, you get the applicants, the candidates that you want. How are you able to manage this process efficiently?
Yeah, you're correct. When we use social media, we tend to receive large pool of candidates, but large quantity of application doesn't always mean that the quality of candidates will be high as well. So if you're consistently finding that a very, let's say, small percentage of your applications are relevant, you have to think about what you can improve to, in the process to improve the quality of your responses. So let's say you can focus on targeting your recruitment advertising campaigns. So That's a good place to start with your job advert. So when creating advertisement, make sure that the essential requirements of the role are clear. So it is important to use language such as candidates must have, or rather than ideal candidate will have. So if your job advertisement and job descriptions are clear, you will filter those candidates already in your pipeline. And if you choose to include essential criteria, let's say you wanted people who, has a bachelor's degree, you have to include that so that people who don't hold a degree would not apply for the role. Make it clear what you want so you don't waste candidates' time and your own as well.
True. But at the same time, we've heard people say that, we've made our job ads as targeted as possible. We've done everything that we can, but these people still like sleep in the applications. And at Talkbridge, we love that. We're all about, automating and digitally enabling the recruiters to be able to process large pools of candidates. We love that. I mean, we say bring in candidates and let the machine do the work. And I know that as Concentrix, you guys, like, you're one of our clients, and you know what automation has done for you and helped you, process all of these leads that come in. And we'd like to get your opinion, let's get your experience with, using automation to process the tons of leads that come in through social media. How's that experience been for you?
Well, automation is part of the technology. It always speed up the process, right? So let's say automation is one of the ways to streamline or eliminate phases in the process that needs manual intervention. So let's say automation for Concentrix alone helps us reducing the processing time of a candidate. Let's say when a candidate hit the system will automatically move them to stages without us manually moving them. So that way, it helped us with the processing time, removing the manual labor that is normally one of the pain points in recruiting. And this could also resolve the scarcity of talent, since automation, you need less manpower. And you can also reduce human error by having automation in the process.
Interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. I have one more question for you that a lot of people do not like to answer, but it's about brand culture. A lot of companies that advertise, sometimes they say people do not like interact with their job ads, and I'm wondering, is it like public perception of what the organization looks like? Like, people have heard stories and they said, okay, you know what, I do not want to work with this company because of all the stories that I've heard. Do you think that brand culture, brand perception, like, does it have a strong, does it play a strong role in talent shortage challenges? Do you think it contributes to why you might not be getting the right talents for the role?
Yeah, definitely. So due to the talented labor scarcity, employees are looking for more than just a career, advancement, or pay. They want a fun workplace where they can meet new people and look forward to working every day. So brand and culture really plays a huge role. So you'll be able to hire, let's say, top people ahead of your competition and accomplish those important workforce targets by creating environment for your employees. So let's say you have to make them feel they are valuable in the organization as well. Because when you examine your culture, you want to win the war for talent. And by having a great culture and branding, it will help you pull candidates as well. So let's say bad reviews, it will reflect poorly on you as an employee, right? And also make it likely for other people to hesitate to apply for your company. So remember, the more niche, let's say, skills and talent you need, the more likely candidates are to know each other already and communicate on social media, and they also read reviews on social media. So your company should have a good let's say branding reviews online as well.
Okay. Let's say let's say the war for talent. So for example, as a company, you're not the only one recruiting candidates. You have competitors out there as well that are recruiting for the same talent that you're vying for. So how do you think that people can stand out? How do you think organizations can stand out from the competitors and win this war for talent, grabbing the right candidates that you want when you have like competitors vying for the same, talent that you're vying for?
Well, number one, as we mentioned earlier, brand culture. That's number one for me. That's where you stand out most. Second would be the way we recruit and the way we train and retain our people. So I agree we need to have a large pool of candidates to process, but we should always do value-based hiring and skill-based training. If we're able to hire people with the right mindset, we can transfer all the skills that we needed for them.
If you're able to, sorry, I didn't get the last part. If you're able to.
If you're able to hire people with the right mindset for the role, the skill sets can be transferable. Okay. So it's easier.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easier for us to transfer skills than to correct behavior.
Okay, I mean yeah, because we have a lot of people really focused on just we need skill based, we need people that have the skills. And a lot of people do not pay attention to the person might have the right morals, the right ethics, the right maybe other traits they're looking for in an employee, but they don't have the skills. So you're saying that it's not just about the skills; there has to be like a balance of both, the attitude you're bringing to work and then the skill that you're bringing into work.
Yes, because employers miss out potential, let's say superstars and rock stars, because they focus on specific abilities and experiences. So if we keep an open mind, looking at your available skill set, paying close attention to skills that could be transferable, it will be a big win for the employee and the employer as well.
Interesting. Okay, so let's go back to automation, for example. The recruitment process, the sourcing part of it, what degree, as in how has automation helped you in the sourcing part and then processing the candidates that you get in? You get tons of people coming from social media. So has automation helped you, streamline that and reduce your time to hire, basically?
Basically, not only social media, all of the sourcing channels that we have for Concentrics go through TalkPush. That's one of the automation system that we have for the company. So it cuts the processing time because we don't have to manually, move all the candidates. We're talking about thousands of candidates, right, on a weekly, on a monthly basis. So by reducing the time to move all those and send links for assessment, follow up, it reduced a huge amount of time in manual processing. So that also helped us, in terms of manpower allocation. We don't need much talent because we have automation helping us in the recruiting process.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, that you have your recruiters. We are not like saying, okay, you don't need the recruiters anymore. You are digitally enabling them to do more in less time, right?
Yep. Well, actually, the recruiter responsibility is more of the human interaction already. All of the tasks that can be done by automation, we opted to use it, by automating it in the system, like sending emails to candidates for assessment, let's say pre-employment requirements, that could be done using automation already. But those steps that needs human intervention, we still need those recruiters.
Exactly. So you're able to balance, for example, if you're having troubles like acquiring all of the talents that you need, automation helps you balance everything out. So even if you're not able to get everybody that you need for certain stages of the recruitment process, with automation, you can balance it out. Just with the right number that you have, with the number that you have, you can digitally enable them to be able to complete all of those processes that you have for your recruitment.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Accomplishing all the process in less time. To give you a perfect example, let's say checking the assessment score. If you do it manually, you have to go through thousands of candidates. But using automation, the system will automatically identify who will pass or who will fail. And the system will automatically move those candidates for you.
Okay. All right. I think that is all we have for today. We don't have any questions for you currently. So thank you so much, Justine. And we'll be going to Julian. Julian, if you're here to begin the TalkPush demo and to show the people how TalkPush works and how TalkPush helps you automate the recruitment processes. Thank you so much, Justin. It was really exceptional having you with us.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So great talk about how we help the BPO industry. But for those that are viewing our session for today, we're here to talk about a tool that would definitely help you out, especially if you're hiring a lot of candidates and if you're trying to get the right volume candidates on a monthly basis. So here in TalkPush, we actually focus on three main things, and these are the main benefits that you would get from us. So Nikki, can you go to the next slide, please? The first one is that we help you build your talent pipelines, right? So we gather all of these candidates for you, put them all in one place, and then help you assess and hopefully hire the right candidates. The next one is to automate the mundane. So basically, we were talking about all of this automation a while ago. And of course, if you're going through a very, very large sum of candidates, you would not want to do things manually. So we help you do this and remove all of the manual things that you go through on a day-to-day basis. And then lastly, of course, if you're getting to all of your candidates and you're able to keep them warm through the automation that you're doing, then your candidates can stay happy, right? And this also helps with employer branding. An employer who can always get back to the candidates and update them in real time is always going to keep the candidates or the applicants happy. All right. So what we want to help you with also is to create this competitive edge for your business. Because if you're running through all of these candidates, of course you want to have a fast process, so on and so forth. Just to give you a couple of numbers that we reached in the previous year, with the use of TalkPush, all of our customers in total, we were able to help them interact with 10 million job seekers. And then we were also able to send out over 10 million messages on a monthly basis. And because of this, we were able to generate 300,000 hires in the previous year. And of course, we are active in 15 different countries. So wherever you might be, TalkPush is there to help you guys. All right. These are just some of the partners that we are currently working with. And they put their candidates first. That's why all of their candidates are always happy. And since all of them are going through a very big volume of candidates, of course, they would need a tool that helps them out with this. Now, a while ago, we talked about a shortage of talent. So just to give you a context of where you should be looking for your candidates, Nikki, you can go to the next slide, please. You can actually view these different platforms, right? So in an ever-changing world, especially with recruitment, of course, you don't just want to stick to one platform. And as you can see here, Facebook and all of these other social media channels actually have the most users as compared to just the job board. So if you want to build a bigger pipeline, if you want to have more candidate volume, then it's time to check out all of those other platforms as well, right? Now, moving on to what TalkPush does, right? So TalkPush is an omni-channel sourcing platform as well. And because we were talking about all of those sourcing channels in the previous slide, so you can see here, we're able to gather all of these candidates throughout all of those platforms or sourcing channels and put them into one place. That way, you don't have to jump from platform to platform anymore, just so you can interact with those candidates. As you can see there, after we've captured all of those candidates, all of the information or the data that we would need, we can help you sort them and then screen them. Now, you can go to the next slide, Nikki. Now, a question that you might have in mind is, Julian, a while ago you mentioned that we need to keep the candidates happy, right? So one of the ways that we're actually able to communicate with these candidates fast is because we also provide you a branded AI assistant. So we provide you chatbots for different platforms so you can always communicate with your candidates. So as you can see there, we can communicate with them via SMS, WhatsApp, Telegram, Messenger, Instagram, or even Viber. Also, of course, the emails. Right? So in TalkPush, not only can we get all of these candidates from different sourcing channels, we also allow you to communicate with them through the same platform. And since we're providing you with all of these various chatbots or AI assistants, you can get back to your candidates in many different ways. And the communication there is always a lot easier. All right. Now, some of you might still be following a traditional journey, and this is something that might be relatable to some of the people that are not using automation yet. But the traditional journey only allows you to capture a very small amount of leads, and usually you would have to go through a very, very tiring process, sometimes 30 days or even more, just to end up with one hire. But with the use of automation or with the use of TalkPush, you're able to talk to and gather more candidates than that. And as you can see here, even though you're going through all of these candidates, maybe 5,000 or even more, some of our partners are doing more than 5,000 candidates on a monthly basis, we're still able to help you find the hires in a shorter amount of time. Now, the next question is, Julian, how is that possible? How is this, how is this possible that you're communicating with more, but you're spending less time? Well, the quick answer to that is actually with the use of Autoflow. So we've been talking about automation a while ago. So now it's time for me to talk about what Autoflow does. So with the use of Autoflow, you can set up triggers that would mimic your current recruitment process, but you can set up triggers that move them along the process without you having to intervene with that process itself. So a while ago, we talked about removing the mundane tasks, and this is what helps you do that, right? So with the use of Autoflow, you can prioritize candidates depending on what your prerequisites are or whatever skill sets that you would need. After that, you can also not only move candidates from one step to another, but you can also communicate with candidates automatically with the use of this tool, right? So if you're running through all of those candidates, and if you're running through, if you're trying to get the volumes that you need, then of course, always better to automate this. And then lastly, we also help you track everything. We do have a built-in analytics tab there. So if you need to check in on, the numbers that you've been hitting for the month, or if you want to see which sourcing channels work best, then you can check it on the platform itself. So that's more or less it. If you guys want to book a demo, you can scan this QR code, and then, we'll show you the rest of the platform from there. Okay. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys learned a little something about that. All right.
Thank you, Julian. That was an awesome demo, and I think we've come to the end of today's event. So here's the QR code to use to find out more about TalkPush. All you have to do is scan it, and then it takes you to a page where you can just enter your details and book a demo with TalkPush. And one of us is going to get back in touch with you as soon as possible. So looking forward to having you guys in our next event. And remember, for the BPO Awards, nominations open next week. So if you have favorite teams, professionals that you want to see take home an award this year, this is your time to nominate them. And when voting opens, you vote for them, and then in December, they can win an award in any of the categories that we have this year. So thank you for joining us again, and see you next time. Bye-bye.